So with the recent announcement of the Transformers Studio Series 86 Bumblebee, I thought it was high time that we actually look at and vote on the top 10 versions of Bumblebee. That's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the top 10 versions of Bumblebee. Anybody who knows me and has been around long enough knows that I'm not a huge fan of Bumblebee. I've never really liked the character that much. However, with the recent announcement of the Studio Series 86 version, I said it's high time that we actually take the bull by the horns and finally do the top 10 versions of Bumblebee. And I agree with some of these. I don't agree with other of these. I mean, everyone's entitled, of course, to their opinion. This is all based on fan votes. Let's do our 3 honorable mentions first. These ones got votes. They did not make the list, but they would have been the next ones to make the list had there been more than 10 slots. And they include Studio Series Rise of the Beast 100 Bumblebee. So that most recent Studio Series live-action Bumblebee from Rise of the Beast got, a few votes, enough that it was able to be an honorable mention. I don't know the mold, so I can't comment on it. The Reactivate Bumblebee, which I totally respect. The version that came with Starscream, I think it was, looks really cool. I like the design. I like the more rugged off-road design. I think it's a neat looking bee. And the War for Cybertron video game, War for Cybertron Fall of Cybertron Bumblebee. That version, because even the kibble is accurate to the game model according to fans. So Reactivate, War for Cybertron video game, and Studio Series 100 Rise of the Beast Bumblebee. They are the honorable mentions. They did not make the list. Who did? What did? You know what we're going to do. We're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Coming in at number 10, we have this. That's right. It's New Age's version 2 iteration of Bumblebee. A lot of people said this was a little taller. They said they tweaked the colors and it was a little better. They said the alt mode and the robot mode proportions are a little bit better. I don't know how I feel about the hinges in the kind of middle of the body, but a lot of people say the engineering here is brilliant. Now, to be fair, a few people did vote for the version 1 of New Age, but we'll talk about that just a little bit later. But the version 2 of New Age Bumblebee, for something as tiny as it is, for something that's meant to scale quite small, it's actually really impressive what they managed to pull off. Impressive enough that it was able to take the number 10 slot. Number 9 kind of sticks with the same vein of proportions and tweaked coloring with this. That's right, it is MP45 Bumblebee. It is the one that came out most recently, and a lot of people said, look, when you see the robot mode, it very much, at least from front on, it is quintessentially Bumblebee. It has the right shades of colors, it has the exact right proportions, the right head, all of it. I don't know how I feel about it once you get to the side and the back of that Bumblebee, but again, this is what fans said. They also said the alt mode is quintessentially Bumblebee right down to the coloration of the yellow. I can understand that, yeah. I mean, people saw this and said, you know what, the original was great, but this one was better. Better enough that it was able to take the number 9 slot. And now we come to number 8. Number 8 is my personal favorite, and it's this guy, KBB's Hornets Agent. Now, to be fair, KBB's Hornets Agent is a more mainline, upsized version of the New Age version 1. So in essence, the New Age designs appeared here twice. While the KBB is an oversized KO, it in and of itself is fantastic. Not for Legends collectors, but for mainline collectors. So much so that for Legends, a lot of people say that the New Age version is still the one to beat. And for mainline collectors, like myself, a lot of people say that the upscaled KBB version is still the one to beat. Still the champion of Bumblebee. KBB's Hornets Agent was fantastic and still stands up to this very day as still fantastic. And it takes the number 8 slot. Now, number 7, I sort of lumped a couple of things together because it's this, technically. That's right, it is the Legacy United animated version of Bumblebee. And you'll notice that in the image here I have the animated and I have the Legacy United because I kind of lumped both of those together. Neither was sort of getting enough traction of them by itself, and I said, you know what, it's really the same character, so I kind of lumped them together. It might have been mushing it a little bit, but honestly, I really like Animated Bee as well. In terms of characterization, it's the only Bumblebee I like, which is funny because most people detest that Bumblebee. I think I like his sarcasm. I think that's what probably gets it for me. But honestly, I've looked at the original, and that was fantastic. I like the character on the show, and I haven't looked at the Legacy United, but I've only heard good things about it, and a lot of people say that they really like the engineering of it. You know what? Legacy United, animated Bumblebee, or just the original animated Bumblebee, whether you're talking character or plastic, he's pretty cool, he's pretty great, and he took the number 7 slot. Number 6 is, shockingly, another one that I really like because it's this. That's right, it is the Creatures Collide Goldbug. I know, some people will say, yeah, but GotBot, you said Bumblebee in the question. You didn't say Bumblebee / Goldbug. I mean, they're the same guy, guys. They're literally the same guy, even the same voice. Bumblebee even says that he's a gold bug. And Optimus is like, that's what I'll call you then, Goldbug. But it's the same dude. So I allowed it to count. And honestly, it even uses the Beetle 86 bug mold and recolors it in gold with the glorious kind of shattered glass Goldbug head sculpt. It might be my favorite use of that mold. It might be my favorite look of that mold. The gold absolutely shimmers. It almost sparkles, and the blue adds some really nice, deep, rich touches. Yeah, the Creatures Collide Goldbug takes the number 6 slot. And now we've reached the ever coveted, ever popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, we have another masterpiece by way of this. MP21, it's the first version of Bumblebee. Actually, we have this version. I don't, my son does. And we got it on sale for like $30 from Toys R Us. It was the Hasbro release, of course, which I think was maybe MP8, something like that. And you know what? It's really quite a good Bumblebee. The way that this transforms, the look in alt mode and robot mode is fantastic. Really, really something special. And you know what? Fans feel the same way, and that's why I took the number 5 slot. Coming in at number 4, we have this guy. That's right, it's the Classics one. It was a deluxe. Some people say it's a bit too large for Bumblebee because it's a deluxe and probably should have been smaller. However, in the modern kind of age era, a lot of people have also said, you know what? No, he was a pretty grand bee. Now that we have some other deluxe bees, this one really kind of fits in and is still pretty fantastic. Comes with a really cool accessory that hooks on the back. Has a stylized but neat looking alt mode with a fun transformation. And even by today's standards, some pretty respectable articulation with an overall look that is quintessentially Bumblebee. I don't know this mold. I've never experienced it. I've never handled it. I've never held it. So I can only relate to you what the fans said to me in their votes. He sure looks pretty great. And there was a time when I did consider him for a little bit. And the only thing that held me back was that I felt like he was a bit too big. Other than that, looks like a great rendition of Bumblebee, and it takes the number 4 slot. Coming in at number 3, we have this. That's right, G1 Bumblebee. A lot of people said, look, this is the Bumblebee that started it all. If we're talking about plastic, it's the first Bumblebee. It set up the penny racer. It set up the look. It set up everything for what we have coming now, for example, with the Missing Link version of Bumblebee. It was also the catalyst for Titan's Return, for the Studio Series 86, for the Classics, and for everything else that is G1B inspired. It all started with this guy and his animation model. I get it. I understand it. Go back to the beginning where it all started. G1 Bumblebee. Whether we're talking the character, the little brother character on the show, or whether we're talking about that first G1 Bumblebee cast in plastic. My very first Transformer, by the way, was the red Bumblebee. First Transformer I ever had. Bumblebee, G1, takes the number 3 slot. Top 2, and at number 2 we have this. That's right, it's the Origins Bumblebee, the one that was part of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line. One of the only releases in that line that actually made sense, since it was a Bumblebee. And the voters pretty much said the exact same thing. I never ever thought we were going to get this alt mode, this version of Bumblebee. There was the Moss Toys version that was an unofficial, but the robot was quite stylized. This robot is somewhat stylized, but you had to put the junk for the alt mode somewhere. And I think kind of setting it up on the legs and compressing the rest in the backpack was probably the best way that you could go about doing it. And it allowed the front chest piece to kind of flip down and be a faux chest piece, or I guess a faux front of the vehicle, but it fits for the aesthetic because it makes the robot mode just look that much more idyllic as Bumblebee. The Origins Bumblebee, sure, we have some extra kibble here, but when you look at both the alt mode and the robot mode, you understand why it's there and you understand the homage. Hard to argue with it, and I doubt we will ever get this alt mode done this cleanly for Bumblebee again. For that reason, Origins B takes the number 2 slot. And now, very tippy top number 1 is this. The Netflix War for Cybertron Bumblebee. It's not Netflix Siege. It's not Netflix Earthrise. It was just Netflix War for Cybertron. That was that line. It was a weird line. I guess because it was Walmart exclusive, they couldn't use the mainline monikers of Siege and Earthrise and blah, blah, blah. It's like the upcoming Star Raiders line. Like, it's not, you know, it's not like Legacy United Star Raiders, apparently. Apparently it's just Star Raiders. Legacy Star Raiders or whatever. Nevertheless, Netflix War for Cybertron Bumblebee. A lot of people said, look, it has the bug alt mode. They said it looks like Bumblebee. I would say that the black should be tweaked to a bit of a gray. I would say that the yellow on it should have been tweaked lighter. And I would say that there should have been an Autobot logo placed on the chest, on the tummy, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people said, too, that his characterization in that series was better than we've ever gotten for Bumblebee because he was a little disgruntled and a little bit rugged around the edges. Instead of being everyone's good time little brother who likes to go and, you know, with a positive attitude and smiling and everything is great and cherry all the time. And when we're in danger, don't worry because our friends will get us out. That's not how the Netflix Bumblebee was portrayed. He was portrayed more as a loner, more as a scavenger, more as somebody who will rely on his own wits over a team. And he kind of had to learn how to be part of a team. So a different take on a familiar face. I would venture to say that this one will stand as the quintessential mainline, official mainline Bumblebee for a long time to come. I know, the Studio Series 86 is coming, but I gotta say, that looks nothing like Bumblebee in its alt mode. And I get that people will say, yeah, well, the Netflix one is based on a more realistic Volkswagen, as where the 86 is based on the Penny Racer design. But it doesn't look like the Penny Racer design. It's too squared. It's definitely more for bumper or for hubcap, which is what a lot of people said. They said, why didn't they just take this Bumblebee, this Netflix Bumblebee, lighten the yellow, put on a Autobot logo on the chest, and, you know, kind of lighten up the black to maybe just the gunmetalist of grays. I don't know. I guess time will tell. But it's hard to argue. I know what my favorite Bumblebee is, and it's not this one, but I know a lot of fans really, to this day, clamor over it and say he is about as ideal of a mainline B as we could hope for, from articulation to transformation to alt mode and robot mode. Who am I to argue with the fans? Netflix War for Cybertron Bumblebee, character and plastic, both combined together, takes the number 1 slot. And there you go, guys and girls. 10 down to 1 once again. Other ones that had votes but didn't rank anywhere was the Transformers Prime Bumblebee, Human Alliance Bumblebee, Titans Return Bumblebee. That's the one that they use for Throttlebot Chase or Road Burn if you prefer. Let's see. The Red Bumblebee. A lot of people like that for the robot. Action Masters Bumblebee. I actually love that one. It was my Bumblebee du jour as a kid. Cyberverse Bumblebee. Skybound Bumblebee. Because he's not alive. He's deactivated. Few people said a sparkless Bumblebee, but I mean, that's not an actual vote. Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee. Pretenders Bumblebee. I thought that was an interesting one. Dark of the Moon Bumblebee. 07 Bumblebee. T30 Bumblebee. I assumed the Little Legends one. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the full deluxe one that they used for Nightbeat. I don't know. The person didn't really specify. The Bumblebee movie version of Bumblebee. And the studio series version of that Bumblebee movie, Bumblebee. RID 2015, Warrior Class Bumblebee. Hunt for the Decepticons Battle Blade Bumblebee. An excellent Bumblebee even to this day. The 86 had 1 vote. The Earth Spark, largely, the person who voted for the Earth Spark, a couple of people voted for it, but one of them in particular said, because the Earth Spark actually gives me RID 2015 vibes, and I didn't really like the RID 2015, I like the Earth Spark one more. But I like the look of the RID 2015. Really weird, but I get what he's going for and what he's saying. Transformers Prime First Edition Bumblebee. That was an excellent one. MPM 3, I couldn't stand it, but a couple of people liked it. And I like this one. Shattered Glass Goldbug. Way to think outside the box. Those and even more, because we all know that there's always a swarm of bumblebees. Let me know if your favorite made the list or not. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time, baby, and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. And don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.